What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Modern Mortgage Show with Rocco, where I interview mortgage professionals that share their stories and valuable information about the industry. I'm your host, Rocco, and I'm super excited to introduce my guest today. His name is Brent McDonald, and he is the
Hey,
branch manager at All Western Mortgage out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Brent, welcome to the show.
well, thank you, Rock.
No problem. So Brent, can you please tell us about yourself? Maybe give us a brief introduction of who you are.
Um, Guess I would start by saying I'm a veteran, I'm a father, I'm a coach, I'm a husband, um, follower of God, and I'm a loan officer and have been for 23 years.
Well, thank you for your service. What do you coach?
I coach youth football right now.
Awesome. Awesome. That's super cool. I coach youth wrestling.
Great sport.
So you mentioned you were in the industry. You've been in the industry for 23 years.
Yes.
So how'd
Yes.
you get your start in the industry? Tell us a little bit more about your backstory.
Well, I've been selling computers in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that business was starting to die because everybody's starting to buy stuff from Dell and Gateway online. And I ran into a guy who'd been a bouncer at a place where I waited tables in college, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him, he's like, Brent, why don't you move out to Arizona with me? I lived in Michigan at the time, and help me start the branch of a mortgage company with him. And that was in 1997. Still have that same calculator. Anybody else have one of these old HPs? Didn't have a computer on my desk when we started in the business. Just a phone, a calculator, and some pens and paper.
Wow. It's awesome to look back on how far you've come. So a bouncer and you were a waiter. You guys
I was
lived.
a waiter. He was a big guy, big, like 6'8" monster of a man. And I was a waiter and he was a bouncer. And he was coming out here to start a branch of a mortgage company and asked me to come with. So I did. Moved to Arizona. And I've been blessed. I met the woman who's now my wife. And I owned my own brokerage for several years now, working at a bank. The brokerage model kind of dried up for a while, but I've been blessed.
Awesome. Well, moving on now, what would you say is the most fulfilling thing about your job? What would you say makes it all worth it?
Client's gratitude.
Mhm.
I never think of a client as a commission check. I always think of them as somebody to serve. And when they're appreciative and grateful, it shows up because they come back again and again over the years, and they refer their family and friends and other people they care about because they want them to have the service that you provide. And that's the most rewarding aspect, I would say.
Totally. I would totally agree. It's, the money is awesome, but when you truly impact someone's life with your service and you see that, it's the most fulfilling thing. That's part of the reason I coach as well. Uh, some people don't understand, but when something impacts you that much, you want to give back and impact the lives of others, just like how it impacted you. So what? So you've been in the industry for a long time now. What were your biggest struggles? You said you didn't have a computer when you started out. What were your biggest struggles or obstacles you faced early on in your journey?
The biggest struggles I faced earlier on. I worked for a company that did primarily subprime loans in 1997. And we were hit with the Asian crisis, and all of a sudden, those companies were destroyed. They couldn't make the spread they used to make in the back. And the company I worked for went out of business. That company did a lot of marketing to generate leads for us. So making the transition from having somebody feed me leads, people to serve, to learning to kind of hunt for myself, that was a ramp. It took a while to climb up that hill.
For sure. Like when I got into business as well, you think you just start a business and then people start coming in, but you get hit with that quick that getting customers is a big struggle. So what advice would you give to loan officers just starting out, maybe like yourself, that are hungry for business?
I'd say it's really simple. The person with the most friends gets the most loans.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have competency. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to have integrity. But those things are kind of fundamental. Those are really a given in my mind. But making friends at the gym, at your kid's school, at church, in the golf league you play in, and gently let everyone, hey, if I may ever be of service, please holler at me. And then when they see things going on in the market like they have this past couple of weeks, they blow up your phone because they want you to take care of them because you're a good guy. It's really that simple.
For sure, your network is your net worth. I'm doing this thing where you have to talk to a stranger every day. So if I'm at the gym or at the grocery store, just start a conversation with a stranger, introduce yourself. So I've been doing that every day. It's getting easier every day, and meeting someone new.
I love that.
Yeah,
Love that. I think as society moves more and more into facing their phone, that ability to talk to people they don't know, to talk to strangers, to make friends is diminished. So if you have that skill set, it's gonna be easier to stand out.
for sure. Back then it was everyone had it. Now it's considered a skill, and you're one of the very few if you do have it at a young age.
Indeed.
So are there so obviously you just mentioned the phone, facing the phone. Technology has really made an impact in the industry. It's revolutionized the mortgage industry in recent years. How has technology or how has this affected you or your business in any way? Would you say it made a positive impact on your business?
Absolutely. I think it's easier to be visible now to people that you weren't visible before. It's kind of interesting. I did a transaction with a real high-end realtor. He serves a lot of sports, professional athletes in town. Did a transaction with him. It had to be close to 10 years ago, and it went well. We liked each other, but he had his guy and stayed loyal to this guy. But him and I have become friends on Facebook, and I think we see a lot of things the same. And it's interesting. I got a call from him today, wanting me to help a couple clients with a couple nice loans, and that's just from being genuine and authentic online. So I would say that's one of the most powerful things.
For sure. That's why never burn a bridge. It's funny how life comes back that way, right?
Yeah. I hadn't spoken to that guy in 8 or 10 years. I'm not exactly sure how long.
Well, that's awesome. So are there any softwares or anything technology wise that you use to maybe organize your business, systemize your business, streamline processes?
One of my favorite things that I don't see hardly anybody using is Google Voice. Have you used Google Voice at all, Rocco?
I haven't.
All right. It's a free service. It literally costs nothing. And you port your cell phone over to them. So, and then when people call in, it rings onto your Google service, and they automatically ring your cell phone, your desk phone, your home phone, your assistant. You have incredible ability to control where that ring goes to. All the voicemails are translated over into text. They've been doing this for over 10 years, for a long, long time. The ability to text from your phone or your computer keyboard. I hate texting with my thumbs. I have fat thumbs. I like being able to do it on my computer screen. It's that you can save every text, every voice message you've ever gotten for 10 years on there. It's so easy to be able to, if somebody calls from a number I don't recognize, I quick search on that and can see past conversations. I can do keyword searches and find, it's a great tool. If you're not using Google Voice, you should be.
Is that a free tool?
It's a free tool from Google. Yeah, they do not charge at all, unless you're using international calling on it. Otherwise, it's free. I've never paid them a penny, and I would pay them $100 a month for it. I feel it valued it that highly. Another thing I use real heavily is Microsoft OneNote to take all my notes in for clients, and that's, I guess some people do it all in a CRM. I've never found a CRM I loved. I have a CRM. In fact, I think I have 2 right now. But I take all my client notes in this application called OneNote, and that's so powerful too. When a client called me the other day, I quick Googled his name and them. Sounds so smooth. So how is your son Graham doing? Is he still playing football? And the client feels cared for. And I honestly do care for them. I don't remember all that stuff in my head, but thankfully I have notes, and that helps me endear myself to the people I serve.
Which CRMs do you use?
I'm currently using Top of Mind, which is probably my preferred platform, mostly for marketing. And the company is using Unison, and it syncs with our loan software. And I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I really don't know enough to have an opinion.
Yeah, if I had to recommend any, I would say Pipedrive is good. Go High Level. Pipedrive. Go High Level, and Lead Carrot is another one that's coming up on the rise. They're adding a lot of new features in there.
Thank you for that, Rocco.
Yeah, no problem. So also, are there any? So you said putting yourself out there, it's gotten a lot easier in recent years. Is there anything that you're doing, putting yourself out there, or any strategies that you're using that way to scale your production, get more leads, get more business?
I think joining a networking group can be incredibly powerful. Now, it's hard to get into a good chapter as a loan officer, so it's going to take some doing. It's not really easy because those positions are highly sought after. And I wasn't in a good productive chapter for several years. I recently decided to step away from that, but I still get a ton of business from the people who are in that chapter. So I think that's one great way to build that up faster. And what you're talking about doing, talking to a stranger every day, right? Whether you're waiting for your coffee at the coffee shop or waiting for somebody to install some tires at Discount Tires, you can get loans if you just make friends, ask people questions about themselves.
Anything, yeah. My favorite is, hey, where'd you get those jeans? They look really nice. Oh, I like how they fit. Or does that taste good? Like something they have in their grocery cart. Maybe ask for a recipe or something. Just anything, just to spark up a conversation.
A compliment is a powerful tool too.
So cool. So where do you see all this technology and such that we're talking about? Where do you see it going in the future?
You know, I sat through a recruitment conversation last week where a guy showed me his company had this vastly powerful array of stuff. You get alerts when one of your clients has their credit pulled. You get alerts when your past client, I don't know, sneezes. There's all sorts of things that you can track if you're good at stalking people online. And when one of those triggers happen, you should call them up and say, "Hey, Rocco, my software told me this. I wonder if I can be of service to you." And I think that's a good thing. I think that's probably what the really, really big companies, your Quickens, are trying to do, but they don't have the power of being local or having deep relationships with their clients. So technology can never replace the relational aspects from my point of view.
For sure. Personal connection, personal phone call is always better than a video or just text or email send out.
Absolutely. Through my process, I take the loan application up front generally, not always, and I always do structure the file and hand it off to my assistant, who's, I like to say, he's the cruise boat director or my evil assistant, whatever. He's doing most of the work, but he notifies me at about 6 different points throughout the transaction to call the client, to call the listing agent, to call the buyer's agent, say, "Hey, the appraisal just came in. Just want to let you know it's adequate to substantiate the financing. You'll be getting a loan status update from my assistant Friday. And I look forward to talking." And that stuff is powerful. It looks like I'm probably more involved than I honestly am, because I have a great assistant.
For sure. So let's switch over to the buyer side now. What do you see as the biggest misconception or fear that your clients have before working with you in regards to getting a loan?
I say some of the misconceptions are that it's easier to find a house than it is. I'm here in Arizona where we have a severe shortage of inventory. I think that's the case in many desirable areas across the South and the West. maybe the Midwest, it's a little easier to find a house, but people think they're going to find a house for this price in this market, and it's often not the case. So yeah, you kind of have to partner with your realtor to let them know, hey, I know you only want to get pre-approved to 200. I'm going to approve you up to 250, 275 in case you find something you can't live without, knowing full well that they're probably going to end up there if they want a house that's not with bars across the windows and you have to have a weapon on you all the time to protect yourself and your family. A lot of people think homes are cheaper than they are. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. The other biggest misconception is people think they have to have a bunch of money saved up to buy a house. I think I read statistic that 72% of all people living in apartments have good enough credit, and they have adequate income. They may have had some bumps, some oopses on their credit report, but those are far enough in the rearview mirror that's not a problem today. But they don't talk to a loan officer about getting qualified because they think they have to have a bunch of money saved up. And the truth is, there's some incredible down payment assistance programs that can help people get into a home with very, very little money out of pocket. And I think you should. I talked to a client who I helped him finance his home. It's either 2000 or 2011. 2011, yeah. He bought for $120,000. Today it's worth $370,000. 8 years later, and if he waited till he saved up 5 or 10 or 20%, he probably would never got a house. He probably wouldn't have that $250,000 in equity that he has today. I think it's important to get a house as soon as you can.
For sure. I think a big misconception would be the down payment. They think they need a huge down payment. VA loans, no money down. FHA, 3.5 down, even if you have a good enough score. So they think they need a huge down payment, or they need the best credit to qualify. Well, Brent, did you have something to say?
I was just going to add, I think the other thing that people don't realize is that credit is manipulatable, meaning 30 to 35% of one's credit score is determined by their balance in proportion to what's available. So if you have a $10,000 limit on your credit card and you have it maxed out at $9,999, you're going to send your credit score down maybe 100 points. But paying that balance down, keeping the balance under 20 or 30%, send your score up. And it's really easy to pay down a balance to get somebody's credit score up to get them qualified. It's also pretty easy to get medical collections deleted. I negotiate paid for deletions at a success rate of about 97%. So those are some of the things that more of a boutique loan officer will do that you're not going to get at a call center type loan officer.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, Brent, that's all the time we have today.
All right.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. I appreciate your time. And thank you to all the viewers for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.